The morning sun filters through the Venetian blinds, casting long shadows across the marble floor of our kitchen. I stand there, espresso in hand, watching Lisa as she flits around the room in her yoga pants and tank top, her hair pulled back in a messy bun. She's beautiful, always has been, but there's a tension between us that's been growing, a silent acknowledgement of something amiss in our marriage. I'm John, by the way, 40 years old, run my own tech startup, and up until recently I thought I had everything figured out. My life, it seems, is as curated as the modern art hanging on our living room walls, orderly, planned, passionless. Our home is a testament to the life we built, spacious, stylish, nestled in one of the city's most affluent neighborhoods. Friends envy our weekend getaways, our seamless parties, the ease with which we host gatherings where laughter flows as freely as the wine, but they don't see the quick, sharp conversations when the guests leave, or the growing number of nights Lisa spends curled up with a book instead of in my arms. Today, like most days, we perform our routines like clockwork. I kiss her cheek, which she offers without turning her face towards me. "Have a good day," she says, her voice light, almost rehearsed. I nod and turn toward the door, my briefcase in hand, the weight of our strained smiles lingering longer than our touch. I spend the day in meetings, presentations flowing into discussions of mergers and acquisitions. Yet my mind wanders back to Lisa, to the subtle signs of her drifting away that I've tried to ignore. The late nights at the gym, the unexplained absences, the text messages she quickly swipes away when I walk into the room. It's nearly 6 when my phone buzzes with a message from a number I don't recognize. My thumb hovers over the screen, a sinking feeling in my gut. I open the text and the words there steal my breath away. "Your wife isn't who you think she is." It's followed by a picture, too blurry to make out details, but the implication is clear. Panic tightens my chest. I want to call her, confront her, demand answers, but something holds me back. I need to know more, see it with my own eyes before I let this bombshell shatter the delicate facade of our life. As I drive home, the city lights blur into streaks of color. My mind races, dissecting every moment of the past months, searching for the moment our lives veered off course. When did my wife, the woman I vowed to share my life with, become a stranger under my own roof? Pulling into the driveway, nothing looks amiss. The house is quiet, the soft glow of the foyer welcoming me home. But as I step inside, the silence feels like a prelude to a storm. I'm on the edge of an abyss, about to step into the unknown, and nothing will ever be the same again. The front door clicks shut behind me with a silence that feels charged, ominous. Heart thumping in my chest, I drop my keys onto the hallway table without making a sound. The house feels unnervingly quiet, the kind of quiet that screams something is wrong. I shed my jacket, hanging it neatly, an automatic motion that belies the turmoil twisting inside me. My footsteps are soft on the plush carpet as I move stealthily toward the living room, drawn by the faint sound of laughter. Her laughter. It's a sound I used to adore, but now it's like a knife twisting in my gut. I peer around the corner, and there they are. Lisa and a man I recognize instantly as one of my own business partners, Mark. They're sitting too close on the sofa, her hand on his knee, heads thrown back in laughter at some shared joke. I feel a visceral shock, a punch to the stomach that leaves me gasping silently for air. My vision blurs with a cocktail of rage and disbelief. How could she? With him? In our home, where we've built a life together. The place I believed was our sanctuary now feels tainted, desecrated by her betrayal. I don't move. I can't. I watch them for what seems like an eternity, memorizing the scene. The way she touches him, the intimacy of their gestures, the betrayal. It's as if I'm outside myself, a spectator to my own horror show. Suddenly, Lisa glances towards the hallway, and I instinctively step back into the shadow, my heart racing. Did she see me? I wait, breath held, but she turns back to him with a laugh, and I let out a quiet exhale. Not yet. Not now. This isn't the time for confrontation. I need to think, to plan, to understand the full extent of her treachery. Turning away, I slip back out the front door as quietly as I arrived. The cool air outside slaps me back to reality, and I walk a few steps away, leaning against the side of our house, my body shaking with a mixture of cold and fury. The images of them together burn hot behind my eyes, and I fight the urge to storm back in and end it all in a scene of righteous fury. But no, that's not my way. I need a plan, evidence, something undeniable. I need her to know that I know, but on my terms. I take out my phone, my hands unsteady, and text a simple message to my most trusted friend, someone unconnected to my business, someone who owes me a few favors. Need to talk. Urgent. Meet me in an hour. The reply is almost immediate, a single word. Okay. That feels like a lifeline. I don't go home that night. Instead, I meet my friend at a dimly lit bar downtown, a place where no one would recognize or overhear us. Over a whiskey that I barely taste, I lay it all out. Not just what I saw today, but my suspicions that have been growing over the past months. He listens, his expression grave, and when I'm done, he lays a reassuring hand on my shoulder. What do you need? Proof, I say simply. I need proof of everything. Can you handle that? He nods, and we spend the next hour devising a plan to uncover everything. Surveillance on our house, a deep dive into her financials and communications. Nothing is off the table. We'll find out everything, expose every lie. As I drive back to a different friend's house for the night, the city lights blur past. My mind is a whirl of plans and contingencies, a stark contrast to the numbness spreading through my chest. The life I thought I knew, the woman I thought I loved, all a facade, and soon she'll know that I know. But first, I need the full picture. Only then will I decide how to confront her, how to unravel the web of lies she's woven around us. It's only the beginning, but the path is clear. Justice, however it looks, will be mine. 3 weeks have passed since the night I couldn't face going into my own home. Each day has stretched long and torturous, filled with silent surveillance and secret investigations. I'm deep in the throes of gathering the proof I need, and each new piece feels like a splinter burrowing deeper into my heart. I've become adept at observing from a distance. Cameras discreetly placed by my friend catch the comings and goings at my house. My home office, once a sanctuary for innovation and business deals, has turned into a command center for watching the betrayal unfold in real time. As each new man enters my house, a part of me numbs further. The evidence mounts, a string of late-night visits, whispered phone calls intercepted through high-tech audio bugs, and messages that paint a vivid picture of infidelity. It's not just one affair, it's a series of them, a repeated betrayal that slices through the remnants of our marriage vows. One name in particular comes up more often than others. Mark, my supposed business partner. The sense of betrayal deepens knowing someone I trusted is involved. But it doesn't stop there. As I dig deeper into Lisa's financials, I find transactions and gifts that trace back to other acquaintances, each revelation adding weight to the crushing sense of deception. The situation complicates further when I discover one of these affairs risks more than just my personal life. It endangers my business. Money has flowed from our joint accounts into ventures I knew nothing about, risky investments made without my consent. The implications are staggering. Not only has my wife betrayed me personally, but she's also jeopardized the financial empire I've spent years building. Armed with this damning evidence, I know it's time to confront the situation head-on. It's no longer just about a cheating wife. It's about a circle of betrayal that includes people I once called friends. I arrange a meeting under the guise of a routine business review, but this time, the agenda is vastly different. I invite Lisa, Mark, and a few others implicated in the financial discrepancies. They walk into the conference room, unaware of the extent of my knowledge. As they settle around the table, the air thick with anticipation, I start by laying out the financial reports. Discrepancies circled in red. The room grows tense as eyes dart around, seeking allies or perhaps an early exit. But no one moves. They're caught in the web I've spun as securely as they ensnared me in theirs. Seems we have more than a few discrepancies here, I begin, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Care to explain, Mark? Or should I say, would any of you like to start? The confrontation is direct, the accusations laid bare. Mark stammers, his facade crumbling. Others start to shift uncomfortably in their seats. Lisa, silent till now, looks from face to face, her mask of indifference slipping. This isn't just about poor investments or business misjudgments, I continue, pulling up images of Lisa, with not just Mark but others at the table. The shock in their eyes is palpable, the sense of betrayal now shared amongst them as they realize they are not alone in their deceit. Lisa finally speaks, her voice a mix of defiance and resignation. "John, we can discuss this privately." "No," I cut her off, firm and resolute. "Not this time. This is as much a business matter as it is personal. You've all betrayed my trust, risked my company. This isn't just a private affair." The meeting stretches on, each revelation another blow to the facade of our relationships. Legal terms are thrown around: divorce, embezzlement, fraud. The room is thick with the stench of panic and fear. By the time everyone leaves, the groundwork is laid bare for legal and personal repercussions. They know the stakes are high, and so do I. Walking out of the boardroom, the weight of the impending battle sits heavy on my shoulders. But there's a clarity in my resolve now, a clear path forward from the chaos they've wrought. That night, as I sit alone in the quiet of a bar, nursing a drink, I reflect on the tangled web of lies and deceit. The road to resolution is clear, but fraught with legal battles and personal reckonings. I'm ready to rebuild, to cleanse my life of the duplicity that's clouded it. The fight ahead is daunting, but necessary. It's not just about retribution. It's about reclaiming the life and respect I once held dear. The room where it happens is stark, the walls bare except for a single, large window that overlooks the city. It's here, in this nondescript conference room on the top floor of my office building, that the culmination of weeks of tension and betrayal reaches its boiling point. I sit at the head of the table, files and digital recordings spread out in front of me, my laptop open to a secure folder labeled Evidence. Across from me, Lisa and the others, Mark included, sit in a tense line. Their faces are tight with anxiety, their postures rigid. No one speaks. The air is thick with anticipation, and the only sounds are the quiet hum of the air conditioning and the distant buzz of traffic below. I start without preamble. "We're not here for pleasantries," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "We're here to lay out the truth, the full truth." One by one, I confront them with evidence. Photos, videos, financial statements, emails. Nothing is spared. Lisa's eyes widen with each revelation, her face paling as the depth of her deception is laid bare for all to see. Mark tries to interject, his voice a mix of defiance and panic, but I cut him off. "This isn't a discussion," I state coldly. "This is a reckoning." As the reality of their situation sets in, the room becomes a battleground of emotions. Anger, betrayal, fear. It all spills out, voices raised, fingers pointed. But I remain calm, detached. This isn't just about emotional catharsis. It's about justice, about protecting what I've built from those who sought to undermine me from within my own ranks. The climax of the confrontation comes when I reveal the most damning piece of evidence. A video of Lisa and Mark, not just in a compromising position, but discussing how they would manipulate business deals to their advantage. The room goes deadly silent. The betrayal is not just personal, it's professional, a stab at the heart of my business empire. "You could have ruined me," I say, my voice low, each word heavy with the weight of betrayal. "Not just my heart, but everything I've worked for." Lisa finally breaks down, sobbing, her earlier composure shattered. "John, I'm sorry," she stammers, her voice choked with tears. "I never meant for it to go this far." But apologies are too little, too late. The damage is done, the trust irreparably broken. I look at her, really look at her, and realize the woman I married is a stranger to me now. "We'll settle this legally," I declare. "I want full transparency and cooperation. Otherwise, the consequences will be severe." My tone leaves no room for negotiation. As the meeting adjourns, the others shuffle out, subdued, the fight gone out of them. But Lisa lingers, her expression one of desperation. "Can we talk? Alone?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. I hesitate, then nod. The others leave, and we're alone, facing the ruins of our life together. "What can you possibly say?" I ask, not unkindly, but with a finality that marks the end of whatever we once had. Lisa takes a deep breath, tears still streaking her face. "I lost myself," she says. "I got caught up in something I didn't know how to escape from. It started as a mistake, but then it became something I couldn't control." I listen, not because I believe it changes anything, but because I need to understand, to see the full scope of the deception. It's clear now, more than ever, that the woman I loved, the life we built, it was all a facade. The meeting ends not with a dramatic exit or a reconciliation, but with a quiet acknowledgement of the end. Lisa walks out, leaving me alone with the remnants of the storm. As I sit there, the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the room. The day's events replay in my mind, each revelation, each confession adding layers to the story of betrayal. But it's over now, or at least the worst of it. What comes next is recovery, rebuilding, perhaps one day, forgiveness. But for now, I remain in the quiet aftermath. The weight of the day heavy on my shoulders, knowing that the hardest decisions are yet to come. The path forward is unclear, fraught with legal battles and personal healing. But I am resolute. I will rebuild, not just my business, but my life. And this time, it will be on a foundation of truth, no matter how painful that truth may be. In the weeks following the explosive confrontation, the reality of my new life starts to take shape. The divorce proceedings are messy, fraught with emotional and legal skirmishes, but necessary. Every meeting with the lawyers, every signed document, is a step away from the chaos of betrayal towards something resembling stability. I find solace in routine, in the day-to-day running of my business, which remains surprisingly resilient amid the turmoil. I'm back at the helm, steering the ship through rough waters, reassured by the loyalty of my team. They rally around me, their support a constant in a sea of change. The office becomes a refuge, a place where I can focus on the future rather than dwell on the past. The settlement with Lisa is as amicable as it can be under the circumstances. We divide our assets, our lives with surgical precision. The house is sold, the proceeds split. It's just a building now, stripped of the memories that once filled its rooms. I move into a modern apartment in the city, the walls bare, the space echoing with the promise of new beginnings. It's different, stark in its minimalism, a blank canvas. Rebuilding is not just about new addresses or business stability. It's a deeper, more introspective process. I spend nights staring out at the city skyline, pondering the shifts in my personal philosophy, the hard-earned insights about trust and vulnerability. There's a freedom in starting over, but it comes with the recognition of my own flaws, the part I played in the disintegration of my marriage. Therapy sessions become a part of my weekly schedule. Sitting in a quiet room across from a therapist whose insightful questions probe deeper than I expect, I confront the emotions I'd long buried under layers of denial and work. Anger, grief, betrayal. They're all laid bare, examined not just for their impact but for their origins. It's uncomfortable, often painful, but undeniably necessary. "Why do you think you avoided confronting the signs of Lisa's infidelity?" my therapist asked in one session. I think about it, really think about it. "I suppose I didn't want to face the possibility that my life wasn't as perfect as I made it out to be," I admit, the words tasting bitter in my mouth. Acknowledging my vulnerabilities doesn't come easy, but it's part of the healing process. Each session, each revelation, helps me dismantle the facade I had built around my life, allowing me to rebuild it more authentically. Socially, I start fresh. Old friends who stood by me mix with new ones who know nothing of my past struggles. Dinners, theater visits, and small gatherings fill my evenings, a contrast to the previously lavish parties Lisa and I hosted. The scale is smaller, but the connections are real, more grounded. And then there's Claire, a new presence in my life, someone who came as a surprise, a fellow entrepreneur, Her vibrancy and understanding of the highs and lows of business life make her an easy person to be around. We meet at a conference and something clicks, not just professionally but personally. She's different from Lisa, her authenticity and openness a balm to my scarred trust. Our relationship develops slowly. Coffee dates turn into dinner plans. We talk about everything: business, culture, our pasts, and our aspirations. The first time she kisses me, it's under the soft glow of streetlights on a cool spring evening. It's new, tentative, filled with the promise of something that might grow into significance. "I'm not asking for promises, John," she says one night as we walk along the river, the city lights reflecting in the water. "Let's just see where this goes." "I'd like that," I respond, feeling a genuine smile spread across my face. As the divorce finalizes, I feel a chapter closing, a chapter filled with lessons about trust, love, and retribution. I look forward, not to forget the past, but to learn from it. The last pieces of paperwork don't bring joy, but there's a sense of resolution, of officially putting an end to a painful part of my life. Reflecting on everything, I realize that the betrayal was not just an end, but a beginning, a painful, yet ultimately fruitful transformation into a better understanding of myself and what I want from life. My relationship with Claire, still new and delicate, holds no guarantees, but it doesn't need to. For now, it's enough to have the opportunity to explore it without the shadows of my past looming over us. In this newfound tranquility, I recognize that while some relationships were meant to end, others are just beginning. My journey is not about returning to who I was before the betrayal, but about evolving into who I am meant to be. This path, filled with personal growth and new beginnings, is not the one I planned, but it's one I embrace fully, with all its complexities and new possibilities. Months have passed since the initial shock and the unraveling of the life I once knew with Lisa. As I navigate through the aftermath, the dust settles, and a new reality takes shape, one marked by a sense of clarity and resolution. The divorce is finalized, and the financial entanglements are mostly resolved, but one final piece remains undone: confronting Lisa one last time, not to revive old grievances, but to seek a final sense of closure. Lisa reaches out first, suggesting we meet at a neutral location. We choose a quiet cafe, a place with no history for either of us, its calm atmosphere a sharp contrast to the turmoil of our last encounters. I arrive early, choosing a table in the corner that affords a clear view of the entrance. The waiter brings a coffee and I wait, my mind surprisingly calm. She walks in, noticeably changed. There's a weariness in her steps that wasn't there before, an acknowledgement of mutual pain and shared destruction. She spots me and pauses, her expression unreadable for a moment, then joins me at the table. "John," she starts, her voice steady but soft, "I wanted to see you after all the legalities were done." I nod, allowing her to continue. "I've had a lot of time to think," she says, folding her hands on the table, "about how everything unfolded, about my actions. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness, not anymore. I just want to apologize sincerely for the pain I caused you." Her words hang in the air, and I take a moment to absorb them. It's not vindication, nor is it satisfaction. It's an acknowledgement, something I needed more than I realized. "Thank you, Lisa," I reply. "That means more than you might think." We talk then, not about the past, not about us, but about what we've learned. Lisa shares her journey of introspection, of therapy and self-discovery, a path not unlike my own. It's a conversation devoid of the tension that once defined us, filled instead with a mutual understanding of two people who have grown from the wreckage of their shared history. "I've been learning to forgive myself," she admits, "which is harder than I expected." "I understand that," I say, thinking of my own challenges. Forgiveness is a complicated thing. It doesn't erase the past, but it allows us to move on. As the meeting draws to a close, Lisa looks up at me, a trace of the woman I once loved still visible in her eyes. "What about us, John?" "In the future, I mean." "I think," I begin, choosing my words carefully, "that we can be friendly, maybe even friends in time. But we'll start from here, see where it goes." She nods, accepting this as she stands to leave. We part with a handshake, a gesture that seals our newfound understanding, a promise of peace, but not a reconnection of our old lives. Walking away from the cafe, I feel a weight lift, a chapter conclusively closed. I head back to my office, to my life's work, feeling more resolved and focused than I have in months. My relationship with Claire continues to grow, grounded in a newfound understanding of what I need from life and love. Our connection is honest and forward-looking, built on the lessons learned from my past. In the solitude of my office later that day, I reflect on the ordeal, on the transformations within me. I've come to realize that every experience, no matter how painful, has its place in shaping us. I'm not the same man I was, and I wouldn't want to be. This journey has taught me about the depths of betrayal, but also about the heights of personal strength and forgiveness. Looking ahead, I'm not certain what the future holds, but I'm optimistic. There are new projects on the horizon, potential ventures that excite me, and a relationship that fills me with hope. The past will always be a part of who I am, but it will not define me. Instead, I choose to let it inform my decisions, to make me wiser and more compassionate. As the sun sets over the city, casting long shadows across my desk, I feel ready to face whatever comes next. The last pieces of my former life are settled, and new beginnings beckon. With a sense of peace and a clear vision for the future, I am finally able to look forward not with fear, but with anticipation of the possibilities that lie ahead. As I stand on the balcony of my new apartment overlooking the bustling city, the last light of the day casts a golden hue over the buildings. The sun sets, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another in my life. It's been a tumultuous journey, one filled with betrayal and heartbreak, but also growth and newfound clarity. I reflect on everything that has transpired, feeling a profound sense of peace. The past months have reshaped my understanding of what it means to trust and to be vulnerable. The pain of Lisa's betrayal, while once unbearable, has transformed into a catalyst for my personal evolution. I've learned that from the ashes of despair, the seeds of a new beginning can find fertile ground. My relationship with Claire is a testament to this, blossoming slowly, built on a foundation of mutual respect and shared experiences rather than mere attraction. Looking ahead, the landscape of my life appears vastly different than it did a year ago. The scars remain, not as painful reminders, but as marks of survival. They underscore my journey from naivety and pain to resilience and strength. My business is thriving once again, now secured from the vulnerabilities of personal entanglements. New partnerships are on the horizon, ones forged with individuals whose integrity and ambitions align with my own. Claire and I talk about the future often. Cautiously optimistic, we make plans. She has brought a new dimension to my life, her enthusiasm and zest for life infectious. Let's take it one step at a time, she smiles over dinner one evening, her hand finding mine across the table. Who knows where this road will lead us? Indeed, the future is an open road, and I am ready to travel it. New challenges are inevitable, but I now possess a deeper understanding of how to navigate the complexities of both personal and professional relationships. The ordeal with Lisa has taught me the importance of transparency and the need for clear boundaries, lessons I carry forward in all my dealings. The city below is alive with possibilities, lights twinkling like stars in the vastness of an evening sky. I think about the upcoming projects, the potential for innovation and expansion, and a spark of excitement ignites within me. These challenges, once daunting, now fuel my ambition, driven by a clear vision in a heart that, while once broken, has found a way to heal. As I turn from the balcony to go inside, I pause, taking one last look at the sunset. It's beautiful, the sky painted in strokes of orange and pink, a visual symphony that fades into the cool blues and grays of twilight. This moment feels symbolic, a representation of my own transition from turmoil to tranquility. In the quiet of my living room, I pour myself a drink, a fine whiskey that glints amber in the light. Settling into an armchair, I think about writing a book, a memoir perhaps, to share the lessons learned from this journey. It would be a story of downfall and redemption, of the complexities of love and betrayal, and most importantly, of the unyielding strength of the human spirit to overcome adversity. The idea grows in my mind, taking shape as I sip my whiskey. Writing it down, sharing it, might not only help others, but also serve as the final piece of my own healing process. Tomorrow I decide I'll start putting words to paper, but tonight I'll allow myself a moment to just be, to enjoy the peace that has been so hard won. As the night deepens, I feel a profound gratitude for where I am now, for the road traveled and the journey ahead. There's a hint of excitement for what's to come, a new chapter not just in my book, but in my life. This story, my story, is far from over. In many ways, it feels as though it's just beginning. And as I finally head to bed, the city's pulse a soft lull in the background. I'm reminded of the resilience of the human heart. Mine is a heart that has known deep pain, but now it knows profound joy and the promise of new beginnings. Tomorrow holds no guarantees, but it is laden with potential. For now, that is more than enough.